Just let it shine through. Just let your soul glow.
Soul glow means more than having artificially processed hair. It means that you need to dig deep to find your inspiration. Why? Because that's what's going to help you find your soulmate, your soul tribe, and even make those good old-fashioned soulmate connections. We all know divorce rates are on the rise. People are unhappily single, and there are some people out there who have given up on love and dating altogether. Now, there are some people who will contribute their misery to movies like Coming to America. Besides, it sends this awful message about love and, yes, you guys guessed it, relationships. It's a movie about a woman tossing aside her rich and handsome boyfriend for an African student. It's a movie about a prince throwing aside his betrothed for a commoner in another country. All for what? For love. Movies like this teaches us that love is going to miraculously happen. Furthermore, it teaches us that love conquers all. All we have to do is give a nice guy a chance, or all we have to do is not make looks and submissiveness a priority. However, finding your soulmate will involve you re-examining your soul contract, making a few changes from within to make that amazing soulmate connection. I'm going to show you how in this video, so please stay tuned. So Coming to America is a comedy classic, and it opens up with Eddie Murphy playing Akeem. Akeem is the prince and the future ruler of Zamunda. It is on his 21st birthday where he is informed that he will be betrothed to his beautiful queen.
Excited today?
Why is that, huh?
Today is your 21st birthday, which means you meet your wife-to-be.
Well, I'm curious, but how can a man get excited about a woman he's never seen?
Now, this betrothal is an arrangement between the father of Zamunda and the neighboring militant leader of the country next door. Akeem meets his bride for the very first time, and yes, she is indeed stunning. Yet he is underwhelmed. He's underwhelmed by the fact that this woman has been trained since birth to please him. After all, Akeem is looking for a woman with her own opinion, her own values, her own personality, her own sense of self. And as a result, he seeks to find her in the world of plenty, good old-fashioned America. And so he goes to Queen to meet his queen. Now, he does this with the intentions of finding his soulmate, his true love, of making soul connections. However, Akeem fails to realize that all soulmate connections are arranged marriages. Many of them are in fact arranged in the spiritual world. And in many cases, our mates, our family members, and even our names are chosen before we are even born. Unlike arranged marriages on the physical plane, we don't get together to foster peace deals or to avoid a military coup or impending war. We get together because we need our partner to help us grow while we're here on the earthly plane. Now, all this is done in our soul contract. We sign these soul contracts with our blood, and we do this while we're still souls. And we swear to fulfill the obligations of that soul contract no matter what. So this is why we didn't question Akeem's intentions when he flew halfway across the world to an entirely different continent to find his bride-to-be. Besides, we all know that there are thousands of beautiful women in Africa. He could have found his queen there. However, Prince Akeem was answering his calling, a calling that was outlined in his soul contract. Now, sadly, honoring a soul contract is hard. In fact, it can be incredibly difficult, simply because these types of things are written in the spiritual world. And as we live out our lives here on the earthly plane, particularly in America, we get sidetracked by money, by people, and yes, you guys guessed it, we get sidetracked by certain events. Now, we've all felt it before. You know, when you run into that special someone and you feel that rush, that spark, that magnetism, that instant connection. You feel like you've known them for years, even though you just met them. This happens because there are certain people who are here to help you fulfill your dream and or mission. But there are also people who are here to hinder you and block you from your mission and dream as well. Prince Akeem wanted to travel to America to meet his queen. He wanted to live his life as a commoner, and he did this under the guise of a college student. And of course, he did this to get a better understanding of how common folk like us lived. While Simi, his pestering sidekick companion, was adverse to living a life of squalor.
That is not fair.
What's not fair is me doing manual labor.
Oh,
I'm badly in need of a manicure.
He had grown used to living in the palace. He had grown used to having finer things, and he couldn't bear to live without them in the good old-fashioned United States.
You are being unreasonable.
if you have ruined my chances with Lisa, I will never forgive you.
Simi worked against Hakeem in every single way possible, buying fancy gadgets and turning their modest apartment into an upscale penthouse. Lastly, it was King Jaffe Joffer, Hakeem's own father, who believed that his son would never marry a woman like Lisa. After all, she was a commoner. Both Simi and King Jaffe Joffer prove that there are certain people in your life who can discourage you from fulfilling your dreams and destiny, and people who can help you fulfill your dreams and destiny. However, aside from people, there are also events and barriers, so to speak, that can stop you from meeting the man or woman of your dreams. The most common barrier, my friends, as you guys guessed it, it's money. Now, earlier in this video, I said that there's a difference between the laws of man and the laws of nature. While inspiration and those amazing connections and falling in love all falls within the realms of nature, money falls within the laws of man. And sadly, many of us have a difficult time navigating both of these laws and navigating both of these planes. As a result, we may sacrifice one for the other. Like Lisa and Hakeem from Coming to America, we might sacrifice love for money. We all know that Hakeem was more than willing to sacrifice his title and wealth for love. But here's the kicker, guys. We really need both money and love to have great relationships and to fulfill our dreams and our destinies here on planet Earth. You see, the whole concept of money is something that is relatively foreign to us spiritual people. And it was easier back in our ancestors' day because people got together simply as a means of survival. The woman, of course, needed a man to protect her from other men and predators. And the man, to be honest with you, couldn't get laid. He couldn't get laid until he showed his physical strength. So to make a long story short, only the most powerful men survived, and yes, my friends, only the most powerful men procreated. As a result, women were only attracted to roaring, raging alpha males. Now, let's fast forward to today, and men are not clunking people over the head. They're not fighting saber-toothed tigers to showcase their power. Today, they're making money, and lots of it. Money, not strength, is what puts a man at the top of the food chain. The only problem with being on top is that you become vastly afraid of being knocked down. These men lose the ability to be vulnerable and thus become incapable of finding real soulmate connections. And yes, you guys guessed it, true love. For women, it's the opposite. They've been clunked over the head, used and abused by all these power-hungry men that they've given up on love and romance and even the fairy tale for that matter. What they settle for instead is security and safety, because that's all their caveman boyfriends can give them anyway. These are people who live strictly under the laws of man and thus are in relationships that are purely about their survival. The man is overly obsessed with power and the woman is overly obsessed with safety and security. In these relationships, there's very little love or intimacy or connection for that matter. People are merely together to serve a primitive or common need, and the relationship doesn't go very far beyond that. Men want sex and not love, and thus result in game playing to get it. Women want security and thus come up with their own set of rules and games to get it. No one wants to be vulnerable. No one wants to risk being played the fool. And no one really wants to risk falling in love. This results in a pimp hole relationship where there is always this internal struggle for power. But being vulnerable is the only way to honor our soul contracts. So let's take another look at the two characters from Coming to America. Lisa risked everything. She risked the judgments of her father, and she risked the feelings of feeling safe and secure. And she did this for Hakeem. And at that time, she thought that Hakeem was just a poor goat hoarder, but she was willing to open her heart and be with somebody just because she loved them. Hakeem left his home country, disobeyed his father's orders, and was even willing to give up his wealth, his throne, his title for love. Now, the single thing that these two characters have in common is sacrifice. they were willing to give up almost everything for the people they loved. And when they made that sacrifice, they not only got the people they loved, but they got the money, the fame, and the wealth too. And so therein lies the issue. It's the vulnerability in the sacrifice. And so a lot of people are miserably married or miserably alone because they're failing to take a look within themselves, to make those proper sacrifices, to re-examine their soul contracts, and then to be vulnerable enough to pivot and change. And when you pivot and change, you're going to take a loss temporarily, but in the end, you're going to have more gains in the future. And that's really what coming to America and creating soul contracts and soul connections is about. Is taking that leap of faith, risk losing it all, and then winning everything that you can possibly imagine and more. So I would like you to be honest with yourself. I would like you to sit back and examine why you feel alone, or why you feel like you haven't met your soulmate, or why you're not with someone you want to be with. And then really begin to discern what you have to give up, what you have to sacrifice in order to meet that person. And if you would like, you can comment in the comment section below. Now, that's the video, guys. I would love for you guys to like, share, subscribe. Also, don't forget to support this channel by picking up a free trial of Audible and getting my first 2 audiobooks for free. All those links are in the description. So that's the video for now. I will talk to you guys later in the next video. Peace out.